Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and great to see you here, Mr. Secretary. Always a pleasure to have you up here on the Hill. Mr. Secretary, Senator Collins and I recently sent you a letter asking for your assistance for farmers who have been devastated by PFAS contamination. You're familiar with that, I think. In New Mexico, the source of this contamination is a U.S. Air Force base using firefighting foam. In Maine, I think it's a different source, but the impacts are the same. Tens of thousands of gallons of contaminated milk have been dumped. Workers and livestock exposed through drinking water, and farmers facing bankruptcy. One farmer has 4,000 cows that are contaminated by this, and he can do nothing with them. Nobody will take them. So I want to thank you because the USDA has been very helpful, but we need more help identifying programs and funding. In particular, I'm hoping you can work with us to ensure programs like the Dairy Indemnity Program and the Livestock Indemnity Program are used to their fullest extent for assistance here. Can we get your commitment on that?
We have, sir. As you noted, we have been working with the producer, the large producer in New Mexico as well, and trying to understand the standards, certainly from the meat perspective, getting standards there of what's acceptable and what's not in that way. But I think we as a government have responsibility, particularly if it's a iatrogenic type of issue such as we see in New Mexico. Maine may be different, but we got the same solutions that need to be addressed in Maine as well.
Yeah. And then turning to the EQIP program, which you're very familiar with, I've fought for years to make sure acequias and land grants are eligible for EQIP. The 2014 Farm Bill included important authority for this department to enter into alternative agreements with acequias. Acequias are these irrigation, old-time Spanish irrigation ditches in northern New Mexico that have been there for 400 years, and part of that is related to land grants. In the most recent 2018 Farm Bill, we built on this success and cut some of the red tape. Now land grants and acequias can apply directly to NRCS for federal dollars. This is a big deal. Hundreds of land grants and acequias can now directly access federal dollars for work on their communal lands and their infrastructure. Mr. Secretary, I appreciate new laws require new rules, but I do not want to lose the momentum while we await final EQIP rules. One idea is to allow acequias and land grants to enter into pilot project agreements. What will your department do to ensure continuity of funding to acequias and land grants while you finalize the EQIP rules?
Well, as you know, the EQIP program has been one of the more popular conservation programs. You all have generously funded it, although you generously funded it, it's always been oversubscribed as well. So this is going to create more demand. It may create more need for funds in the EQIP program, but we're working feverishly on all these conservation issues to implement the Farm Bill as you all wrote it. There are various issues of, and by the way, I need to mention, Mr. Chairman, you may want to look at the funding for the implementation of the Farm Bill. That seemed to be fairly slight this year compared with the new changes. You got new software, you got new training, you got different things like that we're trying to work to get it right, because the EQIP program, having been oversubscribed with this new influx of customers who certainly are well prepared to apply and do that. We look forward to the collaboration, but there will be some challenges going forward.
Good. As you know, local input drives better decision-making, so we hope that the NRCS will hold local listening sessions in New Mexico while you develop the EQIP rules.
We certainly would welcome that.
And you mentioned broadband. One part of the whole broadband issue is in rural broadband providers, including tribally owned broadband providers. There's one in New Mexico called MATI and CAPS, and they would very much like to be a part of this program. So I hope that you can provide us an update on the refinancing of RUS loans, and will they be available to companies such as tribally owned entities in my state?
We certainly expect them to. If they need particular technical help in applying, then we would also offer that.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate working with Senator Collins on this piece of PFAS issue. It's a national issue. It's one that is growing because the contamination, I believe, is on about 123 Air Force bases flowing into communities, and it's one that we really need to get a hold of. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.